I wanted to ask you before we get into like the mental health benefits. I wanted to ask you about your case study where you used adaptogens to alleviate COVID's long term complications.
Right, we're doing
What
the
did you
same thing.
get out of that?
We're still in it, and we're still looking for more willing individuals to take part. But so far, every person they have experienced recovery within the longest was 2 to 3 days, and if they're sick for weeks on end, right, and they're going to the doctor in the hospitals and they're getting their vitals checked, and the doctors are sending them home saying, "Oh, you're okay. Like there's nothing wrong with you. Oh, it's just the long term COVID stuff." It's like, well, we can hope for the best, but we can't do nothing for you. And then imagine you go home after that, and then you have an excruciating headache, or you got this fatigue that doesn't even allow you to get out of bed, or you have these weird pains in your shoulder and extremities that have no explanation, or your tightness in your chest. You think you're having a heart attack. Like, I mean, the stories that I've heard are pretty scary. To think that you're not sick, but you're sick as a dog. Like, so I wanted to make sure that there was something that we could do, because my theory was, well, I mean, I don't even know if it's theory at this point. I'm pretty sure it's a fact based on a lot of other scientists and doctors explaining that the effects of COVID is systemic inflammation, and systemic inflammation is just like code word for damage to every part of your body. So it's like you have your lungs, your pulmonary system, your blood vessels, which is one of the main ones, because I'm in contact with a lot of people that are in the hospital, so I can get both sides of what's actually happening. Because being a herbalist, I am outside of the medical system. I am a layman. I am a person like you and I. We discuss things and have ideas, but I love to get the opinion of people that are actually working in the hospitals to see exactly what's happening, what they're seeing. And they've told me that, that it's like blood clotting, and they can't breathe, and all kinds of things that just don't really make sense. So my opinion, based on reading the benefits of these herbs and then using them for other issues that are associated with the body systems that are wrong for each person, I always ask, we have a little a sheet, a wellness questionnaire that we ask the people, what are you experiencing? Because somebody with long haul COVID can have completely different symptoms than another person with long haul COVID. So we get the idea of what's going wrong, what part of the body that is associated with, and then we make a suggestion on the herbs that they can use. And so far, it's I've only had to use two combinations, because usually they touch on all the body systems, and so far is everyone is recovered. Everybody's recovered. I don't even know it's 100% effective. Like like that's it sounds crazy, but it's as true as it gets. And a lot of people don't want to believe things that are too good to be true, that are too simple. They have it's an immediate, like, a cognitive dissonance. Like, this can't be that can't be right. You can't just use a couple of herbs and make your body feel well when all the doctors can't figure it out. How can that be? Once you get over that step, that hurdle, like, yeah, you know what, this is a possibility. Once you jump into the possibility realm, then you actually experience it and see it, and these herbs, they are very beneficial for people that have long haul COVID, for people that have acute respiratory illnesses, people that have, they're trying to avoid getting sick altogether. Any stage, these herbs have benefit for, and because they help the body recover. And it's not fighting the COVID virus. This is assisting the body assimilate to negative whatever it is, because I'm not even sure. Honestly, I'm pretty sure that this is not caused specifically by a virus. It's something else, and it's a lot of issues with our body, and that's a whole nother video. But yeah, using these plants help our body to recover and just be at its best version, and that's the key here. So if you're not sick, right? I hate the idea of people thinking that if you're not sick, you can make other people sick. Like that just doesn't make sense. And that was something that was fed to us since the beginning. And I cannot disagree with that sentiment anymore. If you're not sick, if everybody in the world remained asymptomatic, then there is no problem. You get what I'm saying? Like the only problem is you being sick. So if you can, my goal in the beginning was like, look, I'm just gonna make sure everyone's asymptomatic. Like, all right, you don't have no symptoms, so it don't matter if you got a positive test. You're not sick. You know, that's the key here. Just making sure that people are feeling good and feeling well.
Hmm. So what you're saying, I mean, I'm just trying to make sure I get it right. So you're saying that if you're asymptomatic, you can't get other people sick? Is that what you're trying to say?
That yeah, that I mean, in as simple terms, right? In simple terms, if you're not sick, and sickness means I feel like crap. I'm coughing. I'm sneezing. I feel feverish. Whatever. Like when somebody I feel sick. Like just try to keep it as simple as possible. And if you don't feel sick, that is being asymptomatic. If you're not sick, you're not doing the things that spread a sickness. You're not
Mm,
coughing, sneezing. It's like the idea that you can make someone sick that you're not sick. I don't think that is I think that's one of the biggest reasons for the fear and for the shutdowns and for the opposite effect of the nocebo. Are you familiar with the term placebo?
yep.
Placebo, the nocebo effect has had a tremendous impact on our overall health. Like if you just think about it, if you believe that anywhere that you can go, somebody can make you sick, and even if they're not sick, then in the back of your head, you already have the idea that you're gonna get sick. And that has a terrible impact on our psyche, on our morale, and on our immune system. So I think it's one of the biggest issues that we face now. And even the World Health Organization, they've openly said that asymptomatic spread is very, very rare, if at all.
Hmm. And we just choose to ignore that statement from the World Health Organization.
Yeah, and we've ignored the statement because the fear has already set in. They started saying that after everyone was terrified.
Mm,
So at this point, they're changing the story so many times. You all like if you imagine just this information overload, you can only grasp for so much. And the human mind usually pays attention to the most traumatic thing or the most dramatic thing. And if you can get sick and die from a person that is not sick, that is very dramatic. You know what I'm saying? So that is what stuck in people's heads. And still to this day, I can show individuals like, look, this is the World Health Organization. This is the article. This is the head. This is what the guy said. It's like you don't get sick. Asymptomatic spread is very rare and possibly null, but it don't matter because it's already stuck. The idea already stuck in their head.
hmm. Yeah, it's a big problem, man. I'm worried for like if we get back to outside, like we get back to normal, like everyone's gonna be afraid of each other because that's kind of
Right.
what it like we've been pummeled with this idea to stay 6 feet apart, to wear the masks, to stop the spread, don't touch people, and we're gonna get back into the real world, and people are not gonna want to be social, they're not gonna want to interact with people or get too close, but in our biological like what's the word here? In our biological mold, we're meant to be social. We're meant to be with people. We're meant to communicate. Like that's just how our biological mold is. And then we're gonna get out there and we're gonna go against everything that we were built and evolved to do.
Exactly. And that is, I mean, it's happening right now. And I'm hoping that individuals recognize the value of being a community. This is something that's not really optional for our overall well-being. If we are isolated, there's many studies. In my psych courses, I've studied this many times. When you isolate a person, you create a rip in their identity. You hurt them in the core of their being because you're taking them away from others and love and the connection in which we need to have. and it's a very similar situation to cancer in itself. Cancers, they grow and divide based on their isolation. They are the void of nutrient. They are damaged, and they don't have adequate blood flow. They don't have adequate energy flow. They're isolated and not receiving what they need to thrive. And that's happening to people. So if that happens to individual cells, what makes them go cancerous, that's going to be happening to people right now. We can actually see it because all the rates, suicide rates are up. You know, domestic violence rates are up. All these crimes are on the rise because we've been disconnected from each other. The love has been zapped out of the world almost.
Hmm.
We returning it back. You know, individuals like us speaking, like from New York to damn Canada. We bringing this love back because it's really really important to let people know that connection is essential for human thrive.
Yeah, 100%. So your case study, did you select people from varying ages, or was it like a specific age group that you picked?
Everybody. There was no. I didn't put a cap on who can get involved because this is more of philanthropy because I have a charity called Max Philanthropies. So I wanted to do something good for people that don't have any answers. So that was the first idea about going about it. It's like, look, I got to make sure I'm helping some people. And then I thought, like, well, if I'm going to help these people, let me document it and advance science at the same time. So that was the main goal, helping as many people as possible, and then using the scientific method to show that this is very viable, very effective, very affordable, very available. You know, so we can help people if they're sick, we can help them with herbs. If they are worried about getting sick, we can help them with herbs. Got that was it.
So have you received any pushback from this? Because I feel like when we're talking about COVID, there's such like a dark cloud over it now. Like if you come up with a solution that isn't like the vaccine or staying indoors, people just assume you're nuts.
You know what? I've had a little bit of pushback, but not really. I've seen at least through my social media platforms, the majority of people are open to learn and to absorb this information and to look for other options. And you know, you got the occasional troll here and there that will come in and just say, "Oh, this is BS," and just completely, you know, they got no picture on their name. They just they got no posts. They just commenting negative, regurgitated information from the news channels. So outside of that, you know, there is no pushback from a reliable source at all. Everyone is just conjecture and repeating fear-based information, but the reality is the reality. You can't use your political opinion to determine science. I'm using the scientific method. I'm being as open and transparent about this as you can possibly get. And people are sharing their story. I'm not just making the stuff up. I asked them what they're experiencing. They report it back, and that's as simple as it gets. So, they, anybody that has any negative thing to say, they can kiss my behind because I really don't. I don't care. Their opinion is irrelevant when it comes to facts.
Well, and it's usually those people, like you said, like the little trolls that are all over the internet. They have no posts, they have no followers, they
All
just
right.
no profile picture. They're just out there spewing hate.
Mhm.
It's hard, man. It the problem now, and I don't like identifying problems all the time because I do like spreading positivity. But one of the issues with being on social media all the time now, like in the pandemic, it's like the only way for a lot of us to communicate. You forget who's a troll and who isn't, and like what to take to heart and what not to. Like
All right.
like these trolls come in and they say like, "Hey, f you, like you're a piece of garbage. Everything you're saying is wrong." And you almost forget that that's definitely like a 13-year-old in his grandma's basement, like who has no life, just writing that, and you take it to heart. It's hard to distinguish.
Right. I mean, I would say the same thing. And I actually took a position to where I enjoy my trolls, right? And I would do my best to kind of fit myself into their troll little mind and try to explain things so that they would explain or they would understand, or ask them questions in which they would have to self-evaluate their position. And I've done that. I would say I'm about 75% effective at redirecting trolls, right? Um, but still, it always it sits in, at least for me, it sits in the back of my head as in, damn, like I couldn't help this guy. He's just lost. And that's just, I guess, the social worker in me. Like I want to, if you don't have the knowledge to recognize something very beneficial in front of your head, I at least want to help you try to mold your vision. Try to mold your opinion to the opportunities, potentials. Instead of being so stringent and rock headed, you should look at other potentials and see if this is possible. That's all.
Yeah, I think even deep down, all those people are just looking for answers. I think that's
And
the
then that's exactly, yeah.
yeah. I think that's just the communal mindset right now. We just want to go back to partying and being with friends and everything. We're looking for every answer possible. Just different ways of expressing that, I guess.
Right.